All right, everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shirat David. Baruch Hashem. Hope everyone had a wonderful Shabbos. We had a nice Shabbos over here, Baruch Hashem. And now we're going to be starting, we here in Eretz Yisrael, we'll be reading this week Parshas Korach. It's a very difficult parsha, a very difficult thing to understand. Korach was actually a very learned man. Korach was probably the wealthiest man, right? They say sometimes money gets to your head, right? Right? Here's an example. And, there's so many things to learn from his ideas of his mistakes and so on. Where you see even when you start machlokes is terrible. Right? Arguments and creating arguments is the worst thing. You see, even in the story with Korach, you saw something very, very strange. Normally, adults, they can get punished for something they did wrong. It's no problem. Right? That's normal, right? And if you have a teenager, min hashamayim, they only punish the person when he's 20. Right? 20. You're under 20, in Shemaim, they don't punish the person. Okay. Down here in this world, if the person shows signs of puberty, shtei cyrus, then they'll punish them when they're either 12 or 13. Right? That's how it works. But you see, it says over there that even the even the babies were killed as well because of machlokes. That's how bad machlokes is. Anoshim, Yeladim, Etapim, and their children, the nursing children, even these babies got killed. That's how bad machlokes is. See that? It's amazing.
Which babies got killed? The children of Korach and the wives who had babies.
Yeah, it's sad. It's really, really sad, but okay. And what was his whole mistake? We were learning the other day about you have to make a drasha, right? You have to learn drush, right? Drush, you need shot, right? So last week's parsha, we finished off parsha shlach with tzitzis. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Psil techeles v'lechem letzitzis." Psil techeles v'lechem letzitzis. Okay. So what does Korach say? Moshe Rabbeinu says that if we have a four-cornered garment and you put on it one blue string, psil techeles, it patters the garment and you're allowed to use the garment. Right? If you have a four-cornered garment, you're not allowed to wear it unless it has fringes on it. If you have tzitzis on it, you can wear it. So Korach said, wait a second, if the string, the blue string, he was focusing on, it was really, there's four strings, that's 8, and there's whatever. That's what his drasha was. If one string can part of the garment, you can wear the garment, so I'll make a whole garment out of tcheles. So he made a whole talis out of tcheles. He says, if one string can work, the whole thing is blue. Why isn't that good? And then they made fun of it says the mezuzahs also. So he says, hey, you tell me I have to put this little passage on the door? How about if I have a whole room full of svarim? I have Sifrei Torah in the room. What's the mezuzah? Sefer Torah is still better than mezuzah, right? So he was making fun. He didn't understand. These are the commandments from Hashem. This wasn't Moshe Rabbeinu. Again, if you don't have emunah in the tzaddik, that's what we're going to be learning about right now. Yesod, if you don't believe in the tzaddik, if you don't believe in the tzaddikim, you can go really far away, and look how he went far away.
But isn't machlokes part of Judaism and part of getting to
No, the machlokes is l'shem shemayim. If you have... Amen. He went against, his problem wasn't machlokes l'shem shemayim. His problem was like this. You go back to Parshas Nosai, right? So Hashem said you should sanctify the Leviim. Well, Korach was a Levi, right? So the Torah said you have to take and shave off all the hair on the body. Right? Again, Kairos, the big Lamdan, he knows how to learn. He's a very wealthy man, and here they're shaving off all his hair, right? Not only that, then Aharon takes him and he picks him up and he waves him like a lulav. He does a tenufa with him. All the Levium. That's what the Torah said to do. Zayah says we were shaking out all of the din from the Levium. That's what they were trying to shake it out of them. Shake it out of them, The Zayah brings the idea like sometimes you have a baby that's just throwing a tantrum, so you give the baby a little bit of shake, something. You're not crazy, but a little shake. You just snap them out of it, right? Or you with your rubber band, you get out of it. Then he says, wait a second, okay. And then they didn't pick me, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't pick me to be my president of my tribe, Levi. I wasn't picked to be the president of the tribe. And then he takes all the positions for his family. Right? Miriam, Kalev, right? He takes all the positions for his family. What is this? I'm getting slighted here. And not only that, he had Nevuah. He saw that from him is going to come Shmuel HaNavi. The Medrash says he saw that from him. Wow! And then he looks at Moshe Rabbeinu, and he doesn't see anything but his kids. So who's this guy? He's thinking. This is how the mind works. This is how the mind works, like that. Also, nothing from him, and I'm going to have Shmuel HaNavi. See that? Shmuel HaNavi was compared to Moshe Rabbeinu. That's how great he was. You understand? He was compared to, okay. So that's where he went off. Then last week's parsha, when the spies came back and Hashem said to them, you were gone for 40 days, so 1 day for a year for a day, right? You're going to be in the desert now for 40 years. So Kairos puts all this together. He says, wait a second. We were supposed to go right away into Israel. And then when we would have came to Eretz Yisrael, then everything would have been sorted out, and I would have gotten my rightful position. I was sliding in the desert. But now, we're going to be here for the long haul for 40 years. I can't put up with this. There was an injustice done over here. He felt there was an injustice done to him. It's amazing when you understand it. Yeah, no. If where it started, it was percolating in him. Unbelievable. Okay, but the truth is, we just have to constantly follow the tzaddikim, like we're going to learn right now. So here we're learning in Likutey Halachos, Birchas Haidah. I'm sorry where we started with that, but these are very important. To understand this, you'll understand why that was important right now. Okay. And it's all in Yana Diyama, right? All the things we're learning about, and so it's all Baruch Hashem. Hilchas Haida'ah, so we're learning the laws of saying thanks to Hashem. We're in Halacha Hey, which is based on lesson Lamed Aleph, which is 31 in Likutey Maran. Okay, it's a wonderful, wonderful lesson. We are discussing now the based on the Hilchas Haida'ah. There are four circumstances a person will say ben shlegoimel. He'll give the public thanks to Hashem, and the Rebbe Nassan's connecting it to also for the Torah is darshaned out with an acronym of Pardes: Pshat, Remez, Drush, and Sod. So far we learned Pshat, Remez, and Drush. Now today we're going to learn the fourth one is Yesod, and then we're going to go into learning about Korach in our learning right here. Yeah. Okay. Again, I always tell you, but we try to figure this out. Impossible. Just Baruch Hashem. Okay. Here we go. Zayin. V'soid zeh b'chinas tikkun bris kodesh. Okay. So soid we know is connected to. We learned it in the Sefer Efrat and Lachem. The whole idea of soid is the midah of bris kodesh, which is connected to Yosef Tzaddik, right? He's the one that personified the midah of Sod the best. Okay, Shu bechinas tikun yordei hayam, and this is the fourth one of the pardes, the one that goes into again the one that has to find him. He finds himself on a boat and he finds himself in a difficult situation in the sea, and he comes back and he's safe, so he gives a public thanks for that, okay? And this Yesod is connected to that based on the Yordei Hayam going into the sea. Now let's see why. If you really want to know the Sodos of Torah, you want to know the secrets of Torah, and you really want to understand them, it's only going to work if you work on Tikkun HaBris. If a person's watching Shmiras Einayim, Shmiras HaPeh, and he's really trying to work on his purity, the best, everyone works on the level that they're on. And they work on it, but they're constantly working on it, they will be able to understand the Sod of Torah. It's a prerequisite. It's a prerequisite to understand the Sod of Torah. Okay? Please Kodesh. Bebechinas Soid Hashem liYireyav uBrisoi lo Heidiam. Okay, he brings this, look at this, isn't it beautiful? Soid Hashem, the secret of Hashem, which is the secret of Torah. Right? Liyireyav, those that fear him, right? V'brisoi lo Heidiam. They fear him with the bris, which is Shmiras HaBris. Lo Heidiam, he'll make him know, he'll give over the teachings. Okay. Ki soid b'gematria shivim. This is a beautiful thing. Soid, the numerical value equals up to 70. You see, because you have a samach is 60, you have a vav is 6, and a dalet is 4. So if you take 60, 6 and 4, you have 70. She'ein zeichen lezeh ki im al yedei shmiras habris al yedei shemeshabren hatayva azois shekluda me'ara shall call hashivin umen. So the ra, that's inclusive of all the 70 nations. What do all the 70 nations have in common? The Pagama Bris. They have all in common Pagama Bris. So when a person, Chas v'Shalom, is not working on his Shmiras HaBris, he's connected to the impurity of the 70 nations. But if he works on his Sod, 70 against 70. Sod is 70. That's against the 70 nations of the world with their impurity. Is that amazing? It's amazing, right? You see that? Did you see that? You figure? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. That's Torah Lamed Vav in Likutey. One day we'll get to that. Okay, and then that's where this idea came from. Okay. Ayin Sham Shekosu Sham She'al. Yedei She'oimdim B'Nisoyan Shel Taiva HaZois Hi Iker HaNisoyan VaHatzeruv Shemenasin L'Odam. How do you like that? The greatest test that they test any person, any Jew, is being tested in the area of Sod. That's the test. Is that fascinating? See the words here? Read it again. They should oimdim in the sign. If a person can stand up to the test, oimdim in the sign, he stands up to the test. Shall taiva zois, again the taiva of Pagama Bris, which is connected to the impurity of the 70 nations. She ikar in the sign. That's the main test. V'atzeiruf me'anisoyin lo'odam. Azai niftachin lo'i soides ha'torah. Then that person, it will open for him the well springs of Torah. Isn't that amazing? The metarin umegalin lay. They'll open up for him what was closed before. Unbelievable. Ayin Sham. But if you want to see more about that, you can look in lesson Lamed Vav. Okay. And this is the main tikkun for those that go into the sea. That have to take a journey into the sea. We'll see why. Boniyos in boats, ships. Sheyavru b'shalom. Well, Oniya is really a small boat, right? Right? Is that shalom? And then Oniya is it's not a big boat. The Sfina is a big boat, right? Well, you have an Oniya as a small, like a rowboat or a little motorboat. Is that right, Zach? How would you say it? You know, there are different types of boats, right? So anyway, Ba'aniyas is some type of a boat. Okay, sheyavru b'shalom. I believe it means it's a smaller boat. You're gonna look. Okay, good. Okay, let's see. Well, Shalom's gonna look it up. There we go. The difference between a sfina and an oniya. Oh, okay. Ki ikra koyach la'ava bayam nimshach mebechinas hanoisem bayam dorech. So the Arizal teaches the whole side of kavonas elul is the idea of tikkun abris, chaydish elul. We're in Sivan now, but the elul's coming up before you know it. Hanaisa b'yam derech, and it's talking about the idea of naisa b'yam derech to make a pathway in the waters. Hanaisa b'yam derech. Shemisham yesh koyach la'ava derech hayam b'aniyas b'chinas derech oniya b'leiv yam. Derech oniya b'leiv yam. Right, here we go. All this comes through tikkun abris. Again, that's what we... Yeah?
That's what we thought.
Huh?
So Aliyah is a ship, large, and a sfina is a boat, small. We thought the other way around, but...
Okay. But in Hebrew today, no, I don't. I think it's the other way around.
In Yom, we differentiate. They say Aliyah, they say sfina.
No. Okay. It's a ship. Fine. Okay. Kiko tikkun habris hu bebechinas hanoisem bayam dorech. He places hanoisem bayam dorech. He makes a pathway in the water. K'maychem avay b'Likutey Maran Siman Pei Zayin lesson 87. Binyan kavanas elul sheim tikkun abris. The whole idea, it's all based on the Arizal. It's not the Rabbi Nachman's idea. This is all based on the Rabbi Nachman's explaining it. Baruch Hashem. First, the Arizal writes it very short, but the Rebbe is explaining it. So you understand that the whole side of elul is the whole idea of tikkun abris. Okay, v'zeh bechinas hasaga soides haTorah. And this is the idea of the hasaga of Torah, the understanding of Torah. Ki aleim nemar beruchnius yordei ayam ba'aniyos oisim malacha b'mayim rab. So these are beautiful words. Yordei ayam ba'aniyos. It's in Tehillim, and it's in Tehillim Kuv Zayin again 107. All right? And again, 107 is discussing the 4 different types of circumstances that a person will find himself in to give the public thanks. Okay? Yeah, okay. Kuv Zayin. Kirak heim yordim bayam hachachma b'malacha gedoyla v'nifla. Listen, if you don't know the way of the sea, it could be very dangerous to go into the sea. Only those that really know the way, the professional sailors that understand what they're doing, they can go in the sea. You don't take regular people that have no idea about the water and the winds and the way the things go and the high tide, low, all of that stuff. It's a whole chachma by itself. You have to know it's a big chachma to run a boat. They are the ones that can see how great and powerful Hashem is. Right? The ones that run in the boat and they see the storms and they see the different things. What?
Tzaddik.
Yeah. They can see the wonders of Hashem. V'chinas roi masei Hashem v'nefloisav. Ki ein mi sheyeida v'yasei gedulas habaris baruch v'nefloisav v'neroisav hatzumim k'moi balei soides haTorah. Those people that know the soides of Torah, they look around in the world and they see what's going on. And they see the wonders of Hashem based on the secrets of Torah. Who are the ones that have secrets of Torah? Those that are working on tikkun abris against, and then we said, so there's 70 against the shivim umas ha'olam, which their whole common denominator of all the 70 nations in the world is immorality. In some way, shape, or form. Each one different, some are more pronounced, some are less pronounced, but they all have that same theme. So now when you work on Tikkun Abris, that's countering and that's your fortification against the impurity of the 70 nations. Okay? And we said, why is that? So now we're discussing this based on the fourth category of the person that goes into the sea. All right? So Yardei Ayam. And he's the one that has to give a public thanks. That's the fourth one. And that's connected to Sod. We said Pshat, we learned about Pshat, Remez, Drush, and Sod. Now we're in the level of, now we're in the idea of Sod. So who has the Sod? The Tzaddikim have Sod. Because they're working on Tikkun Abris. They are the ones that can go through the sea and make a path through the sea and make heads and tails of what's going on in the sea because they understand the niflois of Hashem. How do they understand the niflois of Hashem? Because they know the secrets of Torah. Everything is found in the Torah. Everything, as we discussed, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was the stock of Baraisa, Uvayrei Olam. Hashem looked in the Torah and He created the world based on the Torah. So everything in the world is Torah. So the more you understand it, right? The more you understand the Torah, the more you see the wonders of it, right? Do we understand this? Or yeah, okay.
Yeah. I also think when the sea was parted, the tzaddikim was the one who created the path.
It was the Aron Amar Roa Yam V'Yanus Aron Ishal Yosef. So what did the sea see? And it split. It saw the Aron of Yosef at Tzaddik. Made a pathway for them. Good, very good. K'may Isa B'Zayir HaKadosh Uvatikunim and the Tikunei Zayir Aval Ein Mi Sheyizka Lazeh Kiyim Shemrei Abris Kodesh Be'emes. Those that watch their bris and again working on it the best that they can. Again, Shmiras Einayim, Shmiras Aznayim, Shmiras Apeh. Listen to what you care for, what you see, what you hear, what you listen, what you say. Very, very important. The more the person's working on purity, and again, how do you do that? Shivisi Hashem l'negdi sameh. Remembering, hey, wherever I am, Hashem's with me. So if again, Ritzayin Yirei of Yaseh, right? Like we say in Asher, Ritzayin Yirei of Yaseh v'yeshavosam mishma v'yeshien. Right? Who does Hashem listen to? Those that are shomer, that fear Hashem. How do you show Hashem the greatest fear? In Tikkun Abris. Right?
It doesn't seem fair.
Doesn't seem fair. Okay.
No. The biggest challenge in life that Hashem gives us is Tikkun Abris.
Yeah.
But the only way we're going to get to really understand the Torah is by fixing that.
Yes. Why is that? What's the
Well,
problem?
it's kind of like I'm going out to get a job, but I don't have any experience.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, we can't hire you because you don't have any experience. So it's like, well, we can't show you the Torah because
No, but if you say, I have a little bit of experience, so then I'll take you. So if you show Hashem, I'm working on my Tikkun Abris a little bit, He'll show you something. He'll give you the job. Then you can start getting a little better at it.
okay.
You just have to work at it. Right? If you say, I have no idea, I have nothing to do with this, and so then I'll say goodbye, sir, right? They say, listen, I know a little bit about it. I really want to get better at it, and I think this job will be very fitted for me, and I really can do it. So then they'll probably take the guy, right?
If there's not someone else with more experience.
There we go. Valkein kol haroitze lichnois lepardes. Therefore, anyone that wants to come into the paradise, to understand the pshat of Torah, the remes, the drush, the side, Sheim Dalet Chelkei Torah. These are the 4 sections of Torah. It really sums up the entire Torah in all these 4. Sheim Pshat Remez Drush Soid Ef Shaloi Lichnois L'Sham Velotzeis Misham B'Shalom Ki'im Kishezoiche L'Chol B'Chinas Hatikunim. If you want to be able to learn Torah and have the Torah be for you a Sam Chayim and not Chas V'Shalom a Sam Moves, right? It should be a Sam Chayim, right? A potion of life, rather than a potion of death. Okay? If a person really wants that, so you have to work on the, again, here, the perfect example, we said Korach, right? He didn't understand this, and it took him literally to his death, right? He went into the ground alive. he's still screaming, Moshe Emes v'Seirasa Emes, right?
He finally got humility when he got
Yeah,
to the ground.
yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. V'ikir kulam tolei b'shmiras abris kodesh kamuven sham b'Torah now in lesson 31 and lesson 36. V'oz daika zoichin l'chisufim tovim, and then the person will have good wants and good desires. V'oiseh nafsheis tovim u'metzayu oises ha-Torah l'tov. And then we said everything in, okay, back to what we were, back to lesson 31 again. Everything in the Torah and everything are just letters, right? They're just letters, right? And the stories in the Torah came up to be the stories in the Torah based on what happened. But really, they're those letters that were written in that way because of the things that transpired. So in other words, they say that we are writing our own life, right? We are writing our own story. Everyone's a writer, and everyone's writing their own lives. How do you write your life? Oh, by every day. When you're Messiah, the letters, right? You're Messiah, the letters of the day, right? I'm going to do these mitzvahs, I'm going to do this. Or I'm going to the guy says, I'm going to do that and the other thing, right? And then while you're doing the mitzvahs, while you're doing them, you have ratzah, you want them. So you put the vowels under the letters, right? You have we said a letter without a vowel is useless. The letter needs a vowel. The same way we said a guf, a body needs a neshama. Right, a body needs a neshama. A body without a neshama is dormant, is nothing. So letters also. Now, when you have the right ratzon, when you have the right she'ifa, when you have the right kisufim, when you're kaisef that right with the right way, with the right ratzon, so then you could take the letters of the day and fashion them into positive letters, put more ratzon into them, put nekudas on them, and they become very powerful. Yeah, it's amazing. Dainu shekol dalet chelki atayra nitztayrin v'nitztarfin l'toiv v'laseis puleis toivos b'olam. And you can cause good things to happen in the world. It's amazing, right? You can cause good things to happen in the world via you doing good. And hence, that's why the world says, whatever goes wrong in the world is the Jews' fault. You want to know something? They're right. They're right. We're not doing our job right, and therefore there are problems in the world. They are absolutely right. When we do our job right, so then there's good things happen in the world. Yes, you believe that? Can you imagine that? That they're actually right?
Yeah. That there's good things happening in the world?
No, when things don't go right in the world, it's our fault.
Yeah. It's the Jewish people's fault.
Yeah.
That's
true.
That's probably what they're trying to get at.
No, they getting at. They blame us. It's amazing what they know. How come we don't know that?
See if they wipe out the Jews.
But this is another way Hashem is showing us. Hashem shows us, like, guys, come on, you're getting Musar from the Goyim. They're giving you Musar. Don't you hear the Musar from the Goy? Could you imagine that? Okay, it's just wonderful when you really understand these things and you see what goes on. It's mamish unbelievable. Avamisha mafred chas v'sholem. If someone is separating his learning, his limud atayra mitukunim, sheikarim kedushas abris v'roitze lichnois lepardes. If someone is not working on tikkun abris, but he's trying to study Torah, right? He's working on Torah. B'liat tikkunim, and he's not working on making these repairs. In other words, like we said, Torah is it's an academic study. And it has nothing to do with his desires, his wants. He just wants to study Torah. It's interesting. He has no interest in bettering himself, in improving his actions. He has no. So this guy Yochel lekabetz netiyos. He can separate things. Kamay acher Shekitzes benetiyas. And also the same way Acher saw things in the Torah, and he went off the path. That's why we learned this example from Acher, because again, he was a great person, but he wasn't working on connecting himself with the Kiddush. He wasn't working in that way. And you see that Acher went to the Beis Zaina on Shabbat. You see that, right?
It doesn't make any sense.
He was only working on his intellect, on just learning. I mean, he did have a great student, so he was teaching.
Yeah.
So the student got the right message. The student was Rabbi Meir.
So it was Rabbi, yeah.
So he did it. He was kadosh. So I'm saying, like, the student was able to get the message from the Rebbe somehow. Hey, I need to be kadosh.
That's right.
But that's that he was working acher, but not
He
working.
himself, we see what happened. We see this. We can learn from it.
But how could he miss that? I mean, he was that smart.
Mordechai, he had to miss that. Hashem figured that out, so we could be learning about it today. So we could learn that we shouldn't go off that same path. Right? And then we learned it from Korach. We learned his story. Why? So we should know that we shouldn't start machlokes. Not good to start machlokes, right? We learned these things in the Torah. We learned examples. Hashem gave us these examples now that we have such a benefit today that we can look at these examples and we can pick the right things because we see what happens when you go down that path. You understand?
I also say that because what happened to Acher, what he did, I could go down his path.
Sure, you can. That's your bechira. That's your free choice. You can go down his path. You go to whichever. You see the paths. You see what the outcome of them. If you like that outcome, whatever, whichever outcome you like, go down that path.
I like riding horses.
You like riding horses? Okay.
Isn't that what he was riding a horse?
He was riding. I think he was riding a donkey. But whatever.
oh,
Okay.
yeah,
Vikar pagam kisheroitze lichnois l'soides haTorah koydem shetika nabris kodesh keroyu. And if the person wants to study the secrets of Torah, like, they open up the Kabbalah Center, right? right? They're studying Kabbalah, but they have no idea about Tikka, nothing. No mitzvahs, no nothing. The guy's sitting there eating his ham sandwich while he's studying Kabbalah. I mean, I'm sure it happens. Because if you really want to understand the Seides of Torah, again, we said that Hashem gives the Seides of Torah to those that are Shomer Bris. Even the other sections of Torah. So the guy says, okay, fine, I'm not working on my Tikkun HaBris, so I'll learn Gemara. Right? People tell you that, right? I can't learn Zohar. No, that's not for me. I'm not holding there. Oh, but I'll learn Gemara. But he says here, "Vafilu shachal kiyatayra." Any aspect of Torah you're going to study. Ein masigin b'shleimus kiyimai deishmiras bris. You're not going to really get it. You're not going to get the message. You understand? You're not going to really get the message unless you have the secret ingredient in there, which is shmiras habris. Purity. The Torah is pure. Right? The Torah is pure. So if you want to understand the Torah, you have to, the purer the person is, the better understanding the person can perceive, because the purity allows him to understand the Torah in a deeper way. Does it make sense? Kikol tikunim, all of these tikunim, shehem, emuno, tzedakah, like we were learning, the four different ones, right? The guy that's incarcerated, the guy that went into the midbar, right? The one that was sick, right? Like we learned, hakol toli b'shmiras habris, kemai shemavoya sham shal yedei tikunim, elu zoichin l'chol chelkei haTorah. So a person works on Shmiras HaBris, he'll have a completion of all the Chalakim of Torah. Not just the Sod, but it'll give him a better clarity of all of Torah. Any questions on this, to understand this? Any questions? You have to work on Shmiras HaBris. Then you'll understand it better, right? What? There we go. What? What'd you say?
He's saying I would be a better tour guide if I work.
You're a very you're a very good tour.
Mordechai's possible. No, he's interpreting.
I got to tell you, this guy's a very good tour
But
guy.
he's saying it would be even better. And or maybe it's because I already work on my Tikkun Bris.
Everyone can always work on
Always.
everyone can always work on Tikkun Abris to make Tikkun Abris better. We all can work on it all the time. It's a constant battle.
Connected to all the shmirot, right? It's the shmirot.
Yes. No, because we learned that the eyes are directly connected to the mind. Right, and the neshama is in the mind. Let's just break this down, okay? The neshama shebemaichi. We say that when we put on a tefillin, right? We make the reference to that. The neshama shebemaichi. The neshama is in the mind, and we said that the mind itself can't see, the mind itself can't hear, the mind itself can't do anything. It's just the mind. So the mind is connected to the eyes. So the mind says to the eyes, okay, go look at this. Right, so if the person is a holy person, he says, no, I'm not going to go look at that. You want me to look at it because it's interesting, but I'm not going to look at it. So then he's protecting, the eyes can be protecting the neshama. You understand?
Yes.
The neshama is the chelik elikom that we have inside of us. So we have the ability to protect the neshama that's inside of us through our eyes. Now again, the ears also. There's something going on. So then the mind says to the ears, hey, listen to what's going on. I want to hear what's going on. I'm interested in what's going on there. Let me know. So if the ears are someone speaking Lashon Hara, says, well, I'm not going to listen to that. Walk away. Again, you're protecting the mind. It's the Yetzer Hara tries to fool the person into thinking that this is something real. This is something great. He tries to fool us that it's something great. But if I realize, wait a second, if I really want to understand my learning, and I looked at this thing, or I didn't look at this thing, and then if I didn't look at what I really wanted to look at, now I'll be able to understand my learning better, which means can make me to be a better person, better midos, better relationship, better everything in life. So then, why is it worth doing that?
The catch-22 is it's not going to make sense until you experience it. And you're not going to experience it until you do it. You know what I'm saying? It's like...
Okay.
Now that's why it's
Now
important to
you
work on the Muna. Because
Right.
if you work on
You
your
have to-
Muna, then you'll do a little bit, and then you'll get a little bit, and then you'll get the taste of it. and you'll grow.
Exactly. Well, we said Hashem always gives us everyone, a little extra ha'ara. He gives everyone, even if you're not ready for it, he gives you something, a taste, so you know, and then you have that rishimu of it. Remember we learned these things, right? You have that rishimu, that little imprint, they remind you, oh yeah, remember, I like that. I want more. How am I going to get that? Oh, so then if I go look at that, I'm not going to get that again.
The
I'm not
Rishimu is really important.
Yeah. That's why all the lessons, and Rab Nosson builds them like he does, right? Yeah. He builds them one on the next. You have to keep building on the lessons. They're not, you think that they're just this lesson. No, but they're all connected, right? You have to work on your mind, thinking what you're thinking. Why? Because they told us you can only think about one thing at a time. So if something's bothering you, change the thought. Remember, all these things are all part of...
I feel something this Shabbat that helped me, and I feel like an idiot almost. I have that set of the 50th gate. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize it, but...
Likutey Tefillot.
Likutey Tefillot.
Yeah.
The whole prayer for 31, as an example, is in there, and it's numbered in order.
Yeah.
And you can actually, so you can learn this, and then you go see what you pray for, and then you can go learn the Halachos, and maybe you'll even get more out of it.
No. So if you learn Likutey Moharan, lesson 31, when you finish, the Rebbe said, turn your learning into a tefillah.
Right.
Whatever you learn, turn it into a tefillah. Right. So if you learn something, hey Hashem, I really like this thing that I learned. I really want to take this on. Can you please help me take this on? I really would like to be, I would really like to take, I really want this. Can you please help me, Hashem? Turn the tefillah, your learning into a tefillah. So that's what Reb Nosson did. He turned all of the lessons into a prayer. Now he's talking that BRI, Breslov Research Institute, Reb Chaim Kramer, Zolzayin Gesundheit, he translated Likutey Tefillos into English, calling it the 50th gate. So it's all in there. Every lesson in Likutey Moharan has a prayer that Rav Nosson wrote based on there. And Likutey Tfilas is one of the most wondrous books. Really. Open up to any page, you'll see, wow. It's amazing, I'm telling you.
I know. I just read of all of 31, like in the.
And what do you think of it?
It helped reinforce what
We're learning,
I'm
right?
learning, because now I know what to pray for. But then, quite frankly, it also gave me, because then I was reading more of 31 in Likutey Maron, and it gave me more of an understanding of that also, because I read that. So it all works together.
It's a system. If you follow the system, you'll be successful. You got to follow the system. That's it. Okay, V'al kein tzarech kol lamdin. Lefast feish b'masa v'listakel ba'atzmai. Imhu naki min hachet. V'imhu kodesh b'shmiras abris karoi. So now he's saying here that every lamdin, right? So you have all the guys in yeshiva, right? The guys in the mirror yeshiva that they don't learn any Zohar. No, of course, they learn Gemara. So they also have to check and see, am I on the right level? Is this Gemara going to affect me? Am I going to really understand it? Am I just understanding it on the surface? Right? You can understand things on the surface, or you can really understand it and internalize it. Right? There's a difference. There's a difference of studying something and knowing it on the surface, or internalizing it and making it part of the person. Right? Im yodei ba'atzmai shadayin lo yagia lazeh mikol shekain im hu rachoik mitikun zeh k'may shu rachoik k'may shematzu achshava v'neseinu rabim. And that's what he was saying back then. Could you imagine? Rav Nosson's writing that at that time. Tikkun HaBris back at that time. Right? There were no billboards and didn't have any of the things that we have today. None of the nonsense that we have today. Nothing. So, and they had a problem with Tikkun HaBris then. Can you imagine that? No, I try to think about that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they say, well, he wrote it, way ahead of his time. Like I've heard that.
No, I understand, but he wrote here,
Right.
K'moishe matzino achshav. Achshav
Yeah.
means he's writing, experience it right
I
now.
really wonder if he was, living out, like what he would say, or
He doesn't say, he's not saying in the
He's
future.
talking about right now.
Yeah.
He lived in. They didn't have that.
And I
at the time.
try to imagine, what was that? What were they doing in the little town of Breslov? What did they have? And they had a problem with preachers? I don't know. Maybe they did. I don't know. Maybe there were preachers then also. Right? Preachers are impure people that are walking around unclothed. Right? Preachers, right? Okay, anyway, so that's what we're, okay. Tzarech leida, shadayin ein l'tayrosai shleimus. You have to know, yes, you're studying Torah. It is not telling you not to study Torah. Because if you study Torah, we said Torah is a detergent. Remember we learned that? Torah is a detergent, and Torah can clean the person. That's why you can't go 3 days without listening to the Torah, right? We said because you need to always you have to do your laundry every 3 days. You got to do laundry every 3 days. That's why you always listen to the Torah once in every 3 days. Every 3 days you hear the Torah. Why? Because you have to get, so even if you don't have the Shmiras Abris, so the guy may learn and say, wait, I don't have Shmiras Abris, so why should I bother learning? No. Now you're learning. Now if you're spending your time on learning anyway, don't you want to get the full benefit of what you're learning? Right? Don't you want to get the full benefit? Right? People take courses and they take different things. Right? You want to get the best benefit for whatever you're spending, or you want to get the best benefit. In the terasa shleimus. So if you know that you're not going to have shleimus, so then work on the shmiras abris. By working on shmiras abris, you'll have shleimus in what you're learning. Isn't that a good incentive? I think so, right? Okay, now. In line the Torah says shleimus ki ima yedei tzaddik hagodol hakodesh be'emes b'kedushas habris b'shleimus. If the person connects himself to the tzaddikim, right, the tzaddikim are kadosh and pure, and they have the shmiras habris. So again, we're working on it. But what we can do is we can connect ourselves to the tzaddikim. We can bind ourselves. Right before we daven, before we learn, we can connect ourselves to tzaddikim. When we connect ourselves to the tzaddikim, Azai nichla lamdin v'atzadik. The lamdin is connected with the tzaddik. In other words, you now become, your learning is now connecting it to the tzaddik. Isn't that amazing? Oz yochel is takin al yodai sheyiska lekisupim toivim letzaya oisis haTorah letoiv al yodai. So now look at this. If you can't do this yourself, because we're all going to be deficient in this. It's just the situation that we find ourselves. Everyone's deficient in some way. Everyone is. There's no one is perfectly pure. Okay, now because no one is perfectly pure, but we can connect ourselves to the tzaddikim that are perfectly pure. Right? Take a look at Moshe Rabbeinu, right? Why was Miriam speaking ill against Moshe Rabbeinu? Because he separated from his wife. Moshe Rabbeinu separated from his wife. And what did Miriam say? I'm also in the Via. And Aharon was they were all Nevi'im. So, and I have my husband Kalev, and Aharon has Elisha. You know, we have our. So why did he have to separate himself from it? Because Moshe Rabbeinu was on the highest level of Kedushas HaBris. They didn't understand that. There were levels. They were all levels. But Moshe Rabbeinu was on the plateau of it.
But it doesn't speak well for marriage in some ways.
It speaks very well for marriage.
Well, no, because he got in a high level and then he separated.
No. That was Moshe Rabbeinu. The only one. He's the only one. He's the only one. And he said why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu's nevuah was in a splaklaria ha'me'ira, where all the nevi'im would be minsnave ben a splaklaria shaloi me'ira, right? What does that mean? Moshe Rabbeinu had a clear image, a clear vision of his nevuah. It was very clear. It wasn't distorted. It wasn't fogged. It wasn't hazy. It was very, very clear. And Hashem came to Moshe Rabbeinu anytime. He didn't know when it was. Most Nevi'im had their nevuah when they were sleeping. Hashem came to Moshe Rabbeinu during the day. So now wait a second. If he was with his wife and Hashem came to him, he's going to talk to Hashem when he was Tumas Keri. He has to go to the mikveh. And if he went to the mikveh, he's a full yom. He has to wait till the night. Even if a person goes to the mikveh, right? Person had relay, and he goes to the mikveh, he's not pure till the night sets in. He went to the mikveh, but he's not pure yet, right? He can't eat kachim, he can't do certain things, right? Till till the nightfall comes in. So Moshe Rabbeinu he could not be involved in any marital relation because then he would be impure. He would even if he went to the mikveh, there would be that still segment of time before he's still at full yom. You know what a full yom is? Full yom is the person when toivel. He was toivel that day, but the tefillah only the full effect happens when the sun sets.
Is it also when you toivel something? Is that what you're saying? Like a kli?
No, not with a kli. This is only with a person. Okay. No, not with a kli. No, not with a kli. No, this is a person. This is the law in the person. Okay, anyway, so Moshe Rabbeinu was different. But again, so if we are deficient in our tikkun abris, which everyone is deficient in some way, okay? There are unlimited levels of tikkun abris, okay? And because there are unlimited levels of tikkun abris, everyone is somewhat deficient. But now, and I was saying that the only way we're going to really understand that Torah, because Hashem gives the secrets of Torah to the tzaddikim. So if I connect myself to the tzaddikim, if I can connect myself to the tzaddik, so then through him I can have the purity to give me the right kisufim. I realize, wow, look what this tzaddik was able to accomplish. Wow, look at this, and I realize, and it gives me the right kisufim, the right longing, pining to Hashem. So that way, my letters that I bring in each day, I can be mitzvah the letters to good words. Every day you get you ever play the game Scrabble? You get all the letters, right? And then you can make up whatever words you want to make up, right? You can make up all different kind of words. So that's what we're saying here. Every day you get a whole new, all these pieces, all these letters. Now, what are you going to do with these letters? Are you going to make these letters? Are you going to make good words? You're going to make good things? You're going to make, because you're writing the chapter of your life. every day. It's another chapter. So now, is this chapter going to be a positive chapter, or chas v'shalom, is this going to be a negative chapter? What is it going to be? How, if I want it to be a positive chapter, if I connect myself to the tzaddikim, which then will give me the right kisufim, the right longing, the right will, the right desires, so then I can take the letters and I can fashion the letters into letters that'll be positive and I'll be proud of at the end of the day, right? All if we connect ourselves to the tzaddikim, okay? Therefore, we all have to find the true tzaddikim. We have to find the true. We have to find the true teachings. That's what we have to do. Right? It says in Masechtas Chagiga, Harav doime lemalach Hashem tzivokos. If you have a Rav that's compared to a lofty angel, right? Malach Hashem tzivokos. Torah yivakshu mipiyu. Learn Torah from this person. That's what it says right there. K'mayishem avayishem b'Torah now. But if you're not connecting yourself to true tzaddikim, and not only that, if the person's going against the tzaddik, he's cholik on the tzaddik. So that's the example of Acher. Rabbi Akiva was his colleague, but Rabbi Akiva was on a higher level than Elisha ben Nevuyi. He was on a higher level than him. And Rabbi Akiva gave him instructions. When you go into the Pardes, you just don't look at things you shouldn't look at. Know what level you're on. Don't go to things you're not supposed to. But he didn't listen. He argued with the tzaddik. Rabbi Akiva told him, don't do that. He didn't. And look, he went off the derech.
That makes sense. That's what a guy who's not working on his bris, he's not going to listen to the tzaddik.
There's the example. Right? Here you go. He mafrid bein lamdin v'tzaddik, because he's making this differentiation, this separation from lamdin and tzaddik. We said, who is the lamdin? Eliezer. Eliezer is the lamdin. He's studying he's learning halacha, the nitty gritty of halacha. Avraham Avinu is the tzaddik. You have to connect and Eliezer was bound to Avraham Avinu. Right? Eliezer was the faithful servant of Avraham Avinu. He was bound to Avraham Avinu. That's the same example we have to be. We have to be bound to the tzaddikim. We may be a lamdin down here. We're learning our Torah. We're learning halacha. We're trying to learn and lamdin. But we have to connect ourselves to the tzaddik, the upper one, which is sod. Because what happens is otherwise, if you don't connect to tzaddikim, what you're doing is your Torah that you're learning, you have letters, but the letters don't have the will in them. If you don't have the will in them, they don't have the vowels. They don't have the vowels, they're not words. They don't have any power to them. We said the words have power when you put the vowels on them. The vowels are what is the energy that the word needs to accomplish what it needs. And that's what it means if the person doesn't follow the Torah the right way and he's not connecting his learning to the tzaddikim, the Torah turns into him to be a Sam Avos. Like we see what happened with Korach, right? He had a faulty drasha, right? Well, if Moshe Rabbeinu teaches the thing of tzitzis, right? And he says a psil techeles, right? That we started this morning, but just one more time. And he says a psil techeles. And then if you have the psil techeles, so patas, you can wear the garment. So Korah says, that's so ridiculous. I'll make myself a garment that's all blue, with no strings on it. You say one blue string can work, so I'll make a whole square garment that's blue. Faulty judgment, faulty drasha, right? That's faulty. Because he what?
Because it says, if you have 4 quarters, you have to put on a teal.
Mm-hmm.
So if he makes even if the thing is all made of tchelas, he still needs a teal.
That's what we say, but in his mind, because he wasn't connected to Moshe Rabbeinu. He separated himself from Moshe Rabbeinu. Clearly, he went up against Moshe Rabbeinu, right? Clearly. But look what happened. Kizeu bechinas misa mamash shehu preidus hanefesh me'aguf ki gam hu mafred hanefashos hatoivos shehem hanekudos. He took out the souls. The soul of the letter, we say that the body has the neshama, right? And that's what animates the body, because we have a neshama down. When you take away the vowels from the letters, so then they're nothing. They don't have anything. That's the guf legabe nekudas kavay b'Torah. Now I am sham. See it there. And now, Emetz Hashem, tomorrow we're going to pick up Ches, and we're going to learn about how this affected the idea with Kairach and his henchmen. Is that amazing? No, Yossi, come on. Is that awesome?
He almost looks like he's doing it on purpose.
He is. He kind of.
Yeah, Yossi, if I tried to do this on purpose, I couldn't.
It goes on. Torah,
Yossi, I couldn't.
Torah, lots of the whole week of Torah.
It's amazing, right? This happens all the time with us, right? We want to learn about the thing. Here it is.
So the way though, so everyone has a problem with Shiras Bris. The way to fix it, I mean, is through tikkun klal. I mean, giving tzedakah.
Connecting yourself to the tzaddik.
Yeah, connecting.
Your person will say tikkun klal because he believes in the tzaddik. Why would a person say tikkun klal? Why would you say it?
Because because you figure it's a really good deal. I mean, it's just like it's 10.
Oh, but why is it a good deal? Who said it was a good deal? The rabbi said.
Yeah.
So I must believe what the rabbi said.
Yeah.
So when you say tikkun klal, you're binding yourself. If you look at the tefillah before, you're binding yourself to the tzaddik. That's how it works. You saying the words, but not connecting yourself to the tzaddik, it's not going to work. Because you have emunah in the tzaddik. That's how it works. That's how this whole thing works.
But you're not going to read it unless you connect yourself to the tzaddik, right?
Some people would.
You can read it. You can read it and not think of the tzaddik. If you don't say that paragraph before you read it, you might not think of Rebbe Nachman or any tzaddik.
Well, there are people that say they don't think of the tzaddik either.
Or the people who read all up to Hillel every day.
They lose the whole thing. I have to go to the tzad. I have to go to the grave of rabbi and put a thing and say the 10 chapters.
Yeah.
But okay, they can do that, but they can know that they're connecting themselves to the tzaddik, or else why would they go there?
So
You don't happen to just find yourself in Uman. You don't happen to, you're not on your travels. That's like not a destination place. You know what I'm saying?
there are 10 men every day in the inner sanctum of the kotel who say Aleph Tehillim. 10 men. And if they don't think of Rebbe Nachman and they don't think of those...
They don't think of David HaMelech. They can connect themselves to David HaMelech. He was also tzaddik in Soil.
It's a waste
David
of-
HaMelech is so chai v'kayim, right?
That's a little bit of a stretch. These are guys that are saying Tehillim round the clock. The book of
Yeah, they're connecting
I don't
themselves
know
to
if
David
they're saying-
HaMelech.
Yeah, David HaMelech. Right.
It's fine. No, again, connect yourself to tzaddikim. That's the point. Don't separate yourself from the tzaddik. Don't think, hey, I'm a big lamdin and I know as much as the rabbi knows. Now that we should never say that. Because Acher thought the same thing. Acher thought, hey, listen, I learned pretty good too. Rabbi Akiva is good, but I'm pretty good too. Yeah. So why do I gotta listen to him for? Korach thought, hey, I'm a pretty big lamdin. I can learn pretty good. Look at my drush I came up with. If you have a room full of svarim, why do I need a mezuzah on the door for? To remember Hashem. I have all the books in the room.
But don't we have to assume that everybody is doing that anyway? I mean, how
doing
can you
what?
look at someone and say that they're not thinking of the tzaddik when they do tikkun klal, whether they do the first paragraph or not?
Look. And if you question this, look in your Shmon Esrei every day. Right? It reminds us 3 times a day. Remember the tzaddikim. You're trying to connect yourself to the tzaddikim in the Shmon Esrei. Right? Whether you're studying Breslov or not, you're studying Rabbi Nachman. Everyone says that. Right? Got it? Okay? All right. Let's learn Halach and Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. Okay? We're going to understand this better as we go along in the week. Emetz Hashem. Okay? Rabbi Nassim wants us to understand this. And he's using Kairach as the example. Okay? Okay. That's why I gave you the example. When we started with Korach this morning. Okay, here we go. Okay, we're learning Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. We're in Hilchas Pas Hakom, Bishul Hakom, and Cholav Hakom. And I think today we are up to Tes. Is that right, Shalom? Tes. Okay. So we were learning on Friday this idea with if you have a live-in housekeeper that's not Jewish, right? And she decides she wants to cook herself breakfast, right? In your pot. So she's in your kitchen and she's following the rules. She knows she can't use a meat with making her cheese omelet. She understands that, and she's taking, the dairy kalim and the dairy pot and the cheese that was cholavis on the refrigerator, and she does everything the right way. We said that that's a problem with that pot because she's cooking in it. Because we don't assume that the people in the house would be turning on the fire for her, right? All right, but anyway, so today we're going to learn Tes. Here we go. Akam shebishel b'Shabbos b'shvil chayla. You have someone in the house, right? You have a sick person in the house, an elderly sick person in the house, and there's someone there that the person needs something for Shabbos, whatever. They need something, they need to make something for that person for Shabbos, okay? So they cook on Shabbos for the chola. Again, the guy cooks on Shabbos for the chola. Hatavshil also b'matzoi Shabbos afilu la'achola. So that thing that they cooked, the guy or the gaita that cooked the food on Shabbos, while it's Shabbos, for the sick person only. For the sick person only. No one else can eat this food. For the sick person only can eat this food on Shabbos. Because he's sick. So he has a special dispensation because he's sick. Or she's sick, right? If it's possible that there's other food that they can now make, properly make the food, you can't eat the food that was made on Shabbos by the guy. Do you understand this? We don't understand.
Not yet.
Okay. You have an.
No, I understand the situation. I don't know why.
You don't understand why.
We said if someone is over Shabbos and they cook something that we need to wait till.
Well, no, we're going to get to that. No, we're going to get to that. Here we're saying this was cooked on Shabbos, that it was proper.
Yeah.
You're talking about the case where you cooked on Shabbos. There was no reason to cook on Shabbos. Then you have to wait after Shabbos the time that it was that you were able to make it. That's different. This is different. Right. Here they were cooking on Shabbos and it was correct. There was no problem. The chayla was a sakana. Okay. And they needed whatever there was to eat, whatever the case was. Maybe to make them a tea or make, I don't know, okay. Whatever, boil water.
If you have a chayla that's they have to get something cooked.
Yeah.
So it's better for a Jew to cook it than the guy?
No, if you have a guy to cook it, let the guy cook it.
Even if he doesn't.
A Jew can cook it if he needs it, but if there's a guy there, let the guy cook it. No, that's what we're saying here. But after Shabbos, if you can make other food, don't use it after, because only it was on Shabbos that the chaylik used it. If there's leftover, don't eat it. The leftover, right? If there's leftovers.
Yeah, but does it also mean
Im efshel letafshel achev, you can cook something else. V'akelim yesh lahatir acha me'es le'es. And the kelim that were used after, because they'll be considered what do you call it? The kelis of ben yaima, right? The kelis of ben yaima during the day. So if you wait the 24 hours, the kelim will be okay to use also. Right? That's what we said when you have the goita in the house cooking. If you wait 24 hours, where we said if there's any pagam in the pot, right? A ben yoma means that there's anything that was boileya into the walls of the pot, into the walls of the pot. After 24 hours, halachically, it's considered it's pagam. There's a problem with it. So therefore, since it's a pagam, even though you'll use it after 24 hours, it's okay to use. Because whatever's going into the food is damaged, it's faulty, So it won't be considered a problem. The same thing over here with this chayla. If you had to cook for the chayla on Shabbos, so the chayla can eat the food on Shabbos. If there's a possibility to make other food properly after Shabbos, do it. If there isn't, so of course the chayla can continue to eat the food if he has to, if there's no other case. And you don't, and with the pot, as far as the pot goes, if someone else wants to use it, wait 24 hours and then you'll be able to use the pot. Okay? That's it. This case with the Ben Yomer works only if you use the pot and you cooked everything properly. In other words, the only pagam is that the guy cooked it. That was the problem. So that pagam after 24 hours will go away. If the guy mixed something up, meat and meat, that's a different story. Then you have to kasha the pot, and then it's a whole story. But this is the case over here. Okay? Any questions? No? Okay, good. So I wish everyone a wonderful day. We should all be able to hear Sarah Tovot and be well. Thank you for all joining. Come.